Traveller's Pleasure, old rock and roll venue. Trying to find the old Sydney Cove Tavern. That there in front of me is where the Stage Door Tavern was. I'm not 100% sure what used to be the basement at Ryby Place, Circular Quay. The Stage Door Tavern was a really popular live music venue. It was only around for a short time, probably mid to late 70s, and it actually closed in 1980. Now, before it was the tavern, I believe it was a low sort of level disco. A guy called Pat J actually bought the place. And there was also the author Bob Yates, who apparently started to manage it, but then I think Pat J sort of started to look after all the bookings. After a while, yeah, it picked up and became really, really popular. Okay, here I am on the corner of Campbell and Castlereagh Street in Sydney, and I think that there in front of me is where the Stage Door Tavern was. I'm not 100% sure. The other corner of this intersection is over there. I doubt that's it. And I doubt this one. I'm not sure actually. It just, the address that I could see when I was researching just said the corner of Campbell and Castlereagh. That looks like it there. So the Stage Door Tavern, this is the area where it was located. So some of the bands that played were Midnight Oil, Cold Chisel, Ice House when they were called The Flowers, The Hitman, In Excess. Apparently, according to Mystify, that doco on In Excess, Chris Murphy actually signed In Excess in the dressing room, in the dressing room of the Stage Door Tavern. So yeah, that's interesting. It was only a short time, and it was kind of in an unlikely spot. It was near Central Station in a basement, sort of below an office building. And apparently, when the place shut down, there was a bit of a riot.
And one night in April was particularly memorable because they closed down one of the gigs that all the bands at that time used to play, which was actually under a skyscraper near Central Railway, and that was the Stage Door Tavern. And Pat J, the promoter there, had more or less advertised a riot, and a riot he got. By the time we did the sound check, the entire block had been cordoned off by riot police.
Yeah, a bit of a nightmare apparently. So yeah, apparently the Stage Door Tavern has got a very lively Facebook group that often comment and reminisce about the great old days at the Stage Door. So it's always nice to just, really to kind of just pay homage to these venues that are no longer around, but really, really help to promote and give these bands a place to kind of, show their talents, and a lot of them ended up becoming really, really successful. So Stage Door Tavern, very interesting, very popular live music venue of the 70s and 80s. Okay, looks like I found it. That, all the way up there, is the old AMP building, or I don't know if it still is, but this is where Sydney Cove Tavern was. So somewhere in there, I think it was on plaza level. So I'll pan it around. Train station. There's a train going now. There's the bridge. So Sydney Cove Tavern, I found it, or the old Sydney Cove Tavern. There, somewhere. So, I'm glad I did find it. There you go. An old rock and roll venue, very popular in its day. So that looks like it's 90 Erskine Street, the location for the old Governor's Pleasure. The Governor's Pleasure is another venue from the past that nobody seems to kind of talk about anymore. It's long gone. It was around during late 1979, I think, was one of the first known gigs recorded, and it was early 80s. It was very popular for live music. Some of the bands that played there were Avion, the Zazoff Brothers, Choir Boys, In Excess, Moving Pictures, Matte Finish, Hoodoo Gurus, and the All Nighters, and the Church. A really great venue for these bands where you didn't need ID to get in apparently, and the place was a bit of a sweat house. Of course, it ended up becoming a lingerie topless restaurant. For many punters who were around back then, it would hold lots of great memories. The Governor's Pleasure, Sydney, early 1980s, a great rock and roll venue. Here I am approaching what used to be the basement at Ryby Place, Circular Quay. The basement used to be a very, very cool venue for many, many years. However, in the last couple of years, it's been knocked down and it's been, I'm not even sure what it is now. So I'm just approaching, and I think it's called Mary's Underground, I think. So let's have a look.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die.